let's continue with this mission. So yeah, one of the things that I am slowly thinking about this because they are. I think if you look at the Daredevil Born Again, oh my hair. One of the things that they are bringing back is Jessica Jones, and it seems interesting. It constantly brings back: is this canon? Is this needed? Obviously, there's more of a question in season 4, but I'm not going to talk about season 4. That's season 4. This is season 3. We could talk about that first. But this is fun. It is insane, and it makes you think: what is going on? Like, is this canon and not canon? Besides the point, it is fun. It is insane, and because of a couple of spoilers, let's talk about both. So there is a lot. So one of the things that I've been surprised with time and time again is sort of how they use the characters, right? I said before, with season 1, the fact that they went with Grant Ward as one of the sort of people who will be a villain, definitely in season 2, is insane. And in season 3, it's even more. Like, season 1, again, I said this before, that I thought they were going to do, or I was doing the inside bit, right? Because for all of season 1, he is painted in this not positive light. He's seen as this sort of like rough, like sort of like, oh, we're gonna do this, a bit aggressive tone, but mostly seen as a sort of person who is a good person at heart. Maybe a bit sort of like guns first, ask questions like maybe later, but overall, we'll still try and make a good decision. Twist, again, I always like bringing this up. Hydra, season 1. And they didn't, like, at the end of the season, overturned it. Season 2 kind of had him as a thing, but at the twist, let's bring back Hydra. Nope, he's still doing the Hydra thing. Again, he's still working with the bad guys. And with this, he's dead. They brought up these two Hydra groups, but also doing some stuff with Inhumans. Basically, Watchdogs, Inhumans exist, and the Watchdogs are being like, oh, we need to kill them because they are trying to. It's the same thing with like the X-Men having their thing. The Watchdogs are specifically Inhuman people who want to get rid of Inhumans, which is a thing that I have got a small thing with season 4. But with season 3, I do think it is a good thing to bring up because a large amount of people, one, are dying, two, are having superpowers. So questions are logical in that regard. Do I think what they're doing is right? No. I feel like there's a certain extent where they're going a bit too extreme. So yeah. But one of the main things which I think is fun with this is you have this interdimensional going into space, going into this other planet, sort of teleportation. And they do it again. Do you know the thing about Grant Ward that I said? There was one person who I thought would be like, here's a new member of this team, here's a new member going to join us, and like have this fun thing with his. Nope. He gets taken over by this like original Inhuman who's meant to be like this powerful person, and sort of seen in that way as this like big strong. And Grant dies, and the alien takes over his body, which is insane and cool. And he can sort of convert Inhumans, sort of working for him in this sort of like haze state, which is cool because one of the people who works with him is one of the people of the original sort of like team, alongside Grant's body's being taken over. You also have the thing with sort of seeing more of a Hydra. Definitely with some people who are higher up and using that, which is fun. And the one thing which I like is in season 2, one of the things that was important were the two shields. This group of shield and the second one. And in the second one, you had one person who was infiltrating this one, who we first find in sort of like the bad names, the sort of tech person hiding in Hydra. She pulls her out, and her and sort of like a sort of person who she was with, in I think a romantic sense, sort of have this sort of thing where they get caught in the mission, and because of certain things, they get found out, and they have to sort of like, you can no longer be agents. And I like that they do a thing of like, they go to a bar, pour a drink, celebrate, and then leave. And it's that thing of like, and now no, we're not gonna have it. Nope, they're gone. I don't know if that's they did it for the story, because it's very written and interesting and very creatively, all those behind the scenes stuff, because I don't know. I feel like because of how they did it and how they did a whole episode on it, it was kind of meant to be, it was kind of designed, because one other character who one other character died in sort of like, out of like the main cast, died in season 2. You had sort of this villain and sort of, I think, Daisy going to this crystal, and one of them, who was an Inhuman, died. So they do have a history of sometimes sort of getting rid of characters. One was the character died, the other was because of a certain mission failing, they had to no longer be agents, which is a better outcome than dying. But the other thing which is good is, again, it's just slowly building this Inhuman situation. And now here's the thing I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about it to what we figure out in season 4, but one of the things that happens is one person predicting the future, and they do this to sort of reveal futures, which is so fun. One of the ones that was in this was one in a spaceship, him looking and having a sort of necklace fly, which, again, another character who was in for season 2 and for season 3 for a lot of it, was an Inhuman with an electrical ability. And he dies at the end of season 3, which I think is so fun and so amazing. He was, I think, a good character, and the way that they sort of ended was really interesting and a fun thing. Again, they do have characters come in, and sometimes the character do leave, which I think is good for like an Agents of Shield. Sometimes missions fail, so you have to be permanently bent, or sometimes people just die. That is a factor of this. I think another one was the there was a sort of, I think it was this one, because I made a short about it. There was this person who was like the person of the opposite team being like, "Oh, we're going to freeze them." She also dies, which I am a little bit annoyed with, because I thought the thing of like, I mean, like, "Oh, are you doing this? Oh, you're creating humans." No, we're not. We're getting but and her realizing, oh, someone's lying to me, and then she dies, because I thought that would be good to her interacting with the person lying to her, being like, "Okay, you are going to tell me the truth now." Would have been fun. But I like how they end with Daisy sort of running away from Shield for what of reason is insanely cool and insanely interesting. And it's something that I so badly want to look into. Well, I have, and I want to talk about it, but not yet. As you can tell with this being really long, I like this. Agents of Shield is really good, and even though season 4 there is some things I would like to say, I do mostly like it. I do love this. I do think this is really cool. Again, is this canon to mainline MCU right now? I don't know. But it is fun. But yeah, live free and die hard. That's up next. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I hope you like this long video. And I hope you enjoy. And good night.